Magnus Carlsen is playing Jan Duda, Polish #1. In this video I'm going to do something different, analyze the chess games in reverse. So we're going to take it from the end, but I'm going to break down the phases just to emphasize the certain points you're going to learn in this video. So let's take it from the end, see how this video goes. Now white is completely winning here, because after b7 you're going to go c6, c7, and we're good. We are going to get a queen. There's no check on the back because bishop takes rook. So let's go back 5 to 10 moves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what happened here? Rook is blocking. Well, actually this rook can be taken, so it looks like Magnus has sacrificed the exchange. And as a result, we can see white has 2 passed pawns on the queen side. Let's go back 5 moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what's happened here? 2 against 1. This is a weakness, so it looks like Magnus has won a pawn. If we can find a way to grab it, we're good. And we can see that from the previous moves. That's a runner. So let's go back. What happened to black's position? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Offering a trade here, and it looks like Magnus took it. Now if that trade didn't happen, then the knight can come to d3. The knight might actually have a better spot. So in this position I'm talking about take, knight d3, knight c5. So going back here, I have highlighted the left hand side. Basically all the action is going to take part there. Let's go again. When I'm counting backwards, I'm counting really 10 moves in total, but 5 moves per side. So here we go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, so we have this opening. Both sides are fianchettoed. We have this central structure. We have a Grunfeld here, and it looks like Magnus took in the center. And then the queen actually came in, so we're going to see what happened there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So looks like Magnus put the bishop on b2, competing against black's bishop, and then we are now going to take it from the top. So Magnus has white, Jan Duda has black. Knight f3, d5, g3, g6, bishop g2, bishop g7, and now castle. Black can play e5 to get the center, but then white tends to go d3. And if knight e7, e4, something like this, a totally different setup. So that didn't happen. Knight f3, knight f6, I mean c4, and b3. Knight e4. We have to block the diagonal with d4 and bishop b2. So double fianchetto from Magnus, a very sensible way to play. I also enjoy playing like this. Bishop f5, e3. If you guys want to check out my English video, I suggest this setup almost all the time. Double fianchetto, couple of pawns in the center. a5, planning to get space with a4, a3, even a capture. But now we challenge the knight in the center. Knight d7, queen e2. So that's why e3 was played. Now this option, queen e2, is possible. A capture, and then now, so after queen e2, capture, take, and bishop e4. So that's why Jan Duda captured. Bishop is now well placed in the middle. Now we have a big decision with this capture, and I really like this decision because you cannot take with the bishop, because after e4, black's position is very difficult. After bishop e6, knight g5, this is collapsing. We have a huge center, couple of bishops controlling the board. So that's why after here we take, and now we see Magnus's idea. So if you remember the first part of this video, the queen actually went out to b5. Very creative idea. So the queen can't come out because you lose your knight. So it looks like we're going to have to defend b7 with queen c7. Now this attacks the bishop, so we're going to go rook c1, offering a queen trade. Now this trade is offered to reduce the pressure, but after this capture, this pawn is now weak, knight e1. So the action is going to take part on the queen side. Knight e1, we're going to offer a bishop trade, and Jan Duda actually goes for it. But he lets Magnus take him. So he goes g5, trying to get space. By the way, the move g5 is if you play something else, then the bishop can actually retreat. But this bishop is very strong, so Magnus goes for a trade, and it looks like this pawn is very strong. Let me explain every arrow. This pawn stops this knight coming in the game. This bishop needs to get out of the way, maybe here or here. If it comes to d2, then it keeps an eye on a5. When that happens, this rook is on the weakness, the c pawn, and we can get our pawns rolling with a3, b4. So it's overall, I mean, this position is easier to play with white. Rook c2, we're going to double rooks. Rook c1, this pawn is going to drop a4, b4, not allowing a trade, because then this can be a weakness. And as we see later on, he's going to take it. Bishop d2, attacking the pawn, and that pawn drops. Bishop comes back to attack white's b4 pawn, but we go knight c2, everything defending it. Temporarily, the rooks are disconnected, but white is up a pawn, knight f6. Black has something, knight d5, going after these pawns. Rook b1, knight d5, and rook b3. So it's pretty cool actually. The rook defends it 3 times, but at the same time this rook attacks the other weakness. g4, b5 push, rook b7, bishop c1. So coming round, and now rook a7. So Magnus now plays this brilliant move, rook c5, to disconnect the bishop from defending the pawn. Rook a4, so Jan, he doesn't want to take, because now we get 2 runners, unstoppable, these 2 guys. Also, this pawn is going to drop. So rook c5, rook a4, and now it drops anyway, take. They're going to run, and a cool move here from Magnus, offering a trade of knights. And when that trade happens, we got 2 runners. Push, b6. Bishop c3, very cool move here, bishop c3. Stopping any check from black, and we're going to run it down the board. And we're good. b7, game over. b6. Let's analyze another game in reverse. So let's take it from here. First up, let's count the pawns. 6 pawns for white, 3 pawns for black. And another one is going to drop. Also, we got check here, winning the bishop. And just want to say this is a perfect knight, because the queen can't actually give a single check, because when you've got a knight on this spot, he actually covers every single square. Is that actually an amazing defender here? So once again, we're going to analyze this game in reverse. Let's just go back 5 moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looking at this position, the king is very weak. A rook trade can happen. The queen attacks the knight. The queen can throw in a check here, but then I guess we can block. The queen could take the pawn. So, and this bishop isn't really that good. So overall, white is doing very well. Let's go back 5 moves again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Queen is very well placed. This queen is offside. No checks here, basically running out of spots. This knight is better than this knight. It can even go to d5 to use this pin. Bishops, yeah, they just exist. We're up a pawn here. You got your major pieces in the center on the d and the e file. So let's go back 5 moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like Magnus, he's taken a pawn here on d6. The queen looks well placed here. The king, it looks a bit funny here. That's my first thought when I first saw this game. Attack the rook, that's why the rook had to come up here. We're up a pawn, and okay, black's pieces are still at home. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This position looks absolutely huge for white. Perfect bishop right in the middle, defended here. The king actually looks very safe. Knight looks very well placed. We got a weakness here. If e5 is played, this bishop opens up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got this uncomfortable pressure on this diagonal. That's why Magnus actually went king e2, which is, yeah, I mean, such a funny looking move, but the king is perfectly safe here, because if we look at the center, here, I mean, there's no pawn capture that is possible, so the guy's safe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's take it from the opening. Looks like we have a Sicilian. Magnus went b3 today. And let's take it from the top. e4, c5, knight f3, e6, and b3. Knight c6, bishop b2, we're going to go d4, perhaps. a6, stopping bishop b5, also b5 as an idea. d4, take, queen a5 check, just to discoordinate the white pieces a little bit. Because can't go bishop c3, because, you know, bishop b4, that's just so annoying. You don't want to go c3, because what's the point? You put the bishop there, take, or even just knight f6, so no. So Magnus goes knight d2, maybe later attacking once the guy castles, but we know he's not going to castle knight f6. Magnus plays a capture and bishop d3 defending. One more move, he's going to castle, and then the queen looks a bit silly, so bishop b4 played and king e2. Here we go. King is very safe in the center. Knight c4, queen c7, and bishop e5 pieces are just dominating black. c3, now c3 makes sense because your bishop is outside the pawn chain. c3 kicks the bishop away. Now we drop the bishop back, because if a queen trade happens, this is unacceptable. So many holes in black's position. Knight b6. Just want to show you a funny variation. I think it works. Yeah, let's say the guy offers a trade. Knight b6, rook a7, bishop b8. This is a really funny way to trap the rook. So that's not what happened. No queen trade was offered. Knight d7. Let's kick the bishop away, but now we're in. Huge position for white. b5. Let's drop the knight back, and we got this huge position. a5, e5. Right, here we go. b4. Planning queen, bishop a6 check, but it's nothing because you're just going to block anyway. Queen d3. Queen and bishop battery work very well. We're going to threaten checkmate. This is nothing because you go c4. So we're going to stop it with g6, and now rook d1 pressure here. Take, and white has a dominating position. I mean, black, if we look at black, the guy has hardly moved his pieces. It doesn't even look like it really, but the queen has actually come out. It got attacked, and then it went back. Queen g5 attacking this. It isn't attacking this because of the pawn. Let's grab the pawn and attack the rook at the same time. Rook a7 defends it, and c4 locking it up. No good way to defend that pawn, so c4 grabs a pawn, and now queen d6 offering a trade, because if this happens, I mean, the truth is black can't move. This is a runner. We're going to put our rooks here. Bishop can even improve its square. When the pawn moves, maybe even knight c4. So all good here for white. No trade, check f3, f5. Now black has to do something, and with a move like f5, he actually sacrifices a pawn. He's got to get his pieces out. Maybe Duda is just feeling so uncomfortable. h4, g4 looks just so strong. Even white is the one getting an attack. So f5 stops g4 as well. That's the other point. Check. And now queen, just queen off the e-file. Knight f6, queen d4. Very well placed here. Right in the center. As I mentioned when we saw this game in reverse, this queen is much stronger than that queen. King out the way. Beautiful move. Just king out the way. Knight d5 is coming. Using this pin. Here. Rook e8, rook e1, bishop b7, and queen f4. Rook can come in. We got g4 as well. Oh yeah, by the way, queen f4 is to also defend this pawn. Now, if you were asking after this, why not queen h2? I believe rook h1, it should be game over. Even knight f5, knight d5 looks great as well. Yeah, knight d5 looks great. This pin is too strong. Can't go rook f7, rook e8. Oops, can't take because of this. Back to the game, queen f4, knight f1, offering a trade, because the truth is Magnus is up a pawn. This is a good strategy when you're up material, let's trade, but also you are just reducing your opponent's pressure. It's not really just trading. It's about getting your opponent's best pieces off. g5. The truth is, I mean, that queen is offside. Knight g3 is next to trap the queen. And there's no good move. So g5 played. You know you're desperate when you got to play a move like that, but after queen f5, this is over. The rooks come off. Check, and back. Every square guarded. Check. Queen can come here, but we got enough defenders. Also, there's a threat for white as well. We've thrown a check, knight e2, and like I mentioned at the start of the video, it's a perfect knight guarding every single square. and in this position that is attacked, and so is that. And after king g7 to defend a knight, queen a5, and Jan Duda resigned. Please give this video a like because it really does help out the channel. If you guys want to stick around, I've got a couple of suggestions over here. Magnus Carlsen, how does he play against a Sicilian? And also another one here, Magnus Carlsen's World Cup Queen Sacrifice. Thanks for watching.